Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Punaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavadidamastu Ma Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. What if your nervous system is not only responding to your thoughts, but also to the energy of the spaces surrounding you every single day? What if the exhaustion, heaviness, emotional stagnation, lack of clarity, inability to focus, or feeling of being stuck is not only living inside your mind and your body, but also quietly embedded within your environment? Most people understand what a cluttered space feels like, but very few people understand the difference between a merely clean space and a consciously activated one. Today, I want to talk about the hidden, energetic relationship between our homes, our nervous systems, our emotional lives, and the rather subtle ways environments either nourish us or slowly drain us. Namaste and welcome to the Spiritual Wealth Podcast. I'm your host, Alexandra Savitri Amba, director of the American Reiki Academy and the Vedic Healing Center. I'm a Reiki master, Vedic healing master and priestess, and spiritual guide who has practiced and taught spiritual self-development and healing for more than 35 years, led pilgrimages to India, and studied with blessed Indian gurus. In this show, we cover topics related to metaphysics, Reiki, Vedic healing, yoga, manifestation, spiritual growth, and Feng Shui, based upon my studies and work in these disciplines. The aim of this show is to help you awaken, develop, and tap into your spiritual power in order that you may live well, manifest your dreams, and ultimately fulfill your unique divine destiny. Namaste, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast and to this particular episode. Lately, I have been thinking a great deal about space, and I'm actually about to teach a program in June entitled Space Energetics. Now, the reason I have been drawn to do this is when I talk about space, I'm not only talking about physical space, but energetic space. And I started thinking that many people today are suffering not only because their nervous systems are overwhelmed, but because their spaces are also overwhelmed. I actually see this when I take a walk also, and I walk by cars and see the cars filled with objects. So most of us understand what clutter feels like. We can walk into a crowded room and immediately we feel heaviness. There's just too much stuff in the room. And this actually what it does is it creates a scattering in our mental body. It's also visually overstimulating, and it can even make us tired. So I think what many people don't realize is something I learned a long time ago, and that is that because I'm always thinking about things from an energy perspective, every object carries energy. It can carry memory, emotion, association, attachment, and it's almost like there are invisible cords linking us to different periods in our lives, maybe different identities we had, unfinished emotions, relationships. We know this when we look at old photographs, dreams, grief, aspirations that we had, maybe old versions of ourselves, like we were going to do something, and so we saved a picture from a magazine to inspire us, and then we never did that thing. So over time, our homes begin accumulating layers of energetic, what would we call it? Residue. It's substance. It's actually energetic substance. And I remember one time a few years ago, my Reiki master said to me, she announced to me that she had thrown out all of her papers. And I was shocked. And I said, well, what do you mean? What about your files? She said, I threw them all out. And I started thinking whether I could really do that. And I said to her, well, what about the things that you really need? And she said, I took photographs of them, or, some of those things are available online. I was really shocked. And I thought, I don't think I could throw out all of my papers. But I always remembered her telling me that. And here's something I want to say. I'm not someone who believes everyone needs to become an extreme minimalist. I certainly am not. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about something different. Because here's the other thing. A completely empty space is not necessarily spiritually nourishing or energetically activated. See, a clear space is one thing, but an intentionally charged space is something entirely different. So this is where ancient traditions understood something that modern culture has largely forgotten in both Feng Shui and the Vedic version of Feng Shui, which is called Vastu Shastra. Spaces were consciously cultivated and they were activated. Objects were intentionally placed. Altars were created and then activated. Mantras were repeated. Sacred images were used carefully. And prayer started to accumulate within these environments over time. This is why we go to sacred spots, because we can feel this presence. Spaces became living, energetic fields. And so I have witnessed this through decades of spiritual practice and temple life, pilgrimage, spending time in ashrams, and my own healing work. And I still think about my Reiki master throwing out all of her papers. I mean, what courage that took. Old notes, old files, old records, old accumulations. And I started thinking about that and what that would, I always say in my classes, what's on the other side of your clutter? Because sometimes we cannot enter a new chapter of our lives because there is too much stagnant energy from previous chapters physically surrounding us, not only in our minds, but in our spaces. So many people underestimate how deeply their environments affect them. This means their nervous systems, their emotional states, even your intuition, your ability to focus, your ability to create, what you manifest, your sleep. Now, we all know the bedroom is supposed to be the most peaceful home or room in the home so that we can really wind down from the day. And a consciously cultivated space starts to support whatever transformation or manifestations we are attempting to create in our lives. This goes far beyond burning a little sage. So a really activated space, a cultivated and activated space becomes calming, supportive, alive, intentional, and nourishing on a spiritual and energetic level. And you begin feeling this. You feel it almost immediately, or I do. You feel that the space is much more fluid. You might perceive that you're thinking differently, that your meditation practice is better, your rest is better, you are creating at a higher level. And what happens is over time, your space begins participating in your transformation instead of unconsciously draining you. And this is one of the deepest inspirations behind my space energetics work that I'm now beginning to offer more deeply. As I said, I have a container beginning in June, in the early part of June, because I believe our homes and our cars also that are overloaded with stuff are affecting us far more profoundly than most people realize. And today, as I end this, I'd like to encourage you to give a thought to all the energy currents that are going out from you and understand that you have the ability to clear these currents. We do it with Reiki. We do it with some of the techniques in Reiki and in healing work. And we're going to do this in space energetics too. And again, this goes far beyond, let's just burn some sage or incense and make the place clearer or smell nice. We are going to actually look at what is going on in your space that is weighing you down and contributing to either staying stuck in a version of you that no longer exists, or staying fearful or stagnant. And there are many elements of this as well. There are nuances that we will explore, and then we will, of course, explore how to clear the spaces, and of course, beyond that, activate them for our success and well-being, and ultimately for the unique fulfillment of your divine destiny. I said this at the beginning of the episode today. It's part of my intro, and I say this at the beginning of every episode, that ultimately one of the purposes of this podcast is to help you fulfill your unique divine destiny. We know this idea that everybody has a destiny, but in order to actually fulfill it and not just go about the motions of daily life, we really want to look at energetic pathways in our experience that are clogging the creativity and the inspiration to do what we have come here to do. So I hope this small episode was useful to you. And if you're feeling weighed down by your space, don't worry, because Making changes is always in your control, and it's such a magical process when you start to really look at space this way, and not only make changes again, and not only remove clutter, but consciously activate the space. What you're doing is you're breathing life into your space so that it becomes a dynamic partner to you, with you. Remember, I've said before that your altar is a dynamic force field, and the interaction you have with the altar is going to amplify all of the effects of your spiritual practice. Well, beyond that altar is the home. And so we're going to work with the home also as a dynamic force field, so that it really supports you and inspires you and pushes you forward. See, your body is doing the same thing. As you eat good food and drink good water and take care of your body with sleep and proper nutrition and supplements, your body is also in a dynamic relationship with you, the spirit living within. So we are always in these relationships, these energetic relationships with things beyond us. Let us extend that to our homes and our cars, where we spend a lot of time, and know that, I guess I want to say this, this just came up. I wasn't planning to say this, but know that when you do this work, you are tapping into your divine feminine power. See, your divine feminine power is more than a buzz phrase these days online. You hear this divine feminine, awaken the goddess within you, these kind of phrases that are maybe popular. But what's actually going on is you are awakening an energy within you. In the Eastern tradition, in India, let's say, this energy is called Shakti. Shakti. So your divine feminine power. And when this Shakti is awakened, she perceives everything at a higher level and is able to manifest at a higher level. She is in beautiful communion with everything around her. And so she knows when something needs to move, when something is not supportive. It could be a relationship, it could be a space, it could be a job. She knows, she is guiding you. This energy is guiding you. And as we clear our physical spaces, she becomes more alive, more able to communicate with you. It's like you have gone to sleep and you have forgotten her voice. You have forgotten maybe even her presence. So you can't even hear her voice. But when you start to awaken her through yoga, through mantra, through Reiki, through prayer, through pranayama, you begin to tap into an extraordinary presence. And she, this divine feminine energy, must be honored. That means taking extraordinary care of your home and activating your home to support you as the sacred space that she is to live in. Because from this space, she creates. So why not activate the space also in order to support this amazing creative power that you have? What are you waiting for? Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Om Sai Ram. Jai Guruji. Om Amriteshwariye Namaha. Hare Krishna. Om Namah Shivaya.